Good evening and good afternoon, depending where you are. Hi, I'm Eric Lindquist. Welcome to MLB Live Before Lock, presented by Stokastic. Guys, we got a massive slate coming our way here on Tuesday, 4 in the early window. We're not going to deal with that, but 11 that we got breaking down here starting at 7:05. We're going to take you right up to lock, 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:05 p.m. Pacific Time. You can follow me at Eric Lindquist over on X, and I'm joined, as I normally am on these lovely Tuesdays, by my friend Matt Bellman at Fantasy Tips Matt over on X. How you doing, my dude?
Good, man. Better now that I'm here talking some MLB with you. We got a big Tuesday night slate coming off a holiday weekend. So, yeah, wish the Timberwolves had finished the deal last night. I know you do too, but c'est la vie, and we're here to talk some MLB today.
Dude, I'm in so much pain. I'm in so much pain about that. Also, don't look at my email here. Apparently, I've got to log back in, even though I had just ran the Sims. Got a new iteration of it here. Got all the lineups just about updated into the lovely sheet. We are going to be set. I think we're waiting on Washington, Miami, San Diego. Those will be some interesting ones. But friends, hit that like button as we get going, because we got a ton to break down. We got some pitchers on the expensive, and I do mean expensive end to be breaking down. We've got some mid-range targets that are pulling quite a bit of ownership. I'm going to be running primarily the 5-man stacks here in this version of the Sims. Obviously, you want to replicate the field that you're going to be playing in. I've got that on a side tab here, but I always like to share the Sims when we're on shows together, because I'm playing large field tournaments, playing multiple lineups, and I know that my friend Matt Bellman over there, he is just extraordinary when it comes to the high stakes streets. We're going to jump into the single lineup sim like we generally do together, talk a little FanDuel as well. We'll give you our top stacks after we cover pitchers, of course, and then we'll give dongs and get the heck up out of here. But anything stand out to you here on this 11 gamer? Because it looks pretty clean from a weather perspective. This, obviously we don't have to entertain anything with this Baltimore game, so I'm not too worried about it.
It looks clean and flat. Like no weather spots, as you mentioned, and then also just like not really any pitcher or offense that like looks so much better than the field. Like certainly we'll talk about Cade Horton. He looks good, but like no one like on a talent level, or certainly no stack that's like I need to have them. So should be a fun slate with a lot of different spots to look at.
Let's see. Where's this comment section? Spam his email, he said. Yeah, no, I'll absolutely kill you. Updated my Avi team Stokastic. Look at that beautiful avatar. Everybody can take advantage of that. I know my guy Lofty running everything with the Hall of Fame. Going to be covering a lot of things there. Going to be covering a lot of things, but I want to start here because this made me happy to look at. This made me extremely happy to look at. Got to go back into the media assets, and we had a ton of takedowns here in the MLB streets. Obviously, Dr. Rex, good fellow. That's fantastic stuff. The Millie that he took down in the PGA. But look at the baseball coming along for the ride. Danny C45, Danny Carmo, Memorial Day baseball. Thanks for the tools. You guys crush it. Unbelievable stuff over the course of Memorial Day. Yesterday, he takes down 100K in the main there. Jamison Tyon goated. Garrett Crochet, he got himself there. You didn't absolutely need him, but boy, oh boy, Baltimore, it was a low-scoring slate, and they ended up being the nutties on that early window. We also had Lithuania, a 50K takedown there in the main. Oh, flagship contest. Had just gotten the Sims. Guys, it is a great time to be jumping into the Stokastic Sims here. That's what I'm going to be breaking down as we go along here, but you can sign up for that for yourself down at the video description box below. Anything you want to mention about this 11-game slate before we just dive right in, Matt?
Not really. I think there's a bunch of good spots to talk about, so excited to break it down with you.
Did it feel good to get some clout from Jesse, or is he as annoying to you as he is to me?
Oh, I mean, yeah, always nice to get shouted out. Can't ever know what to take of his seriously, but always nice to be recognized. So
see, it's nice that you know that about him. It's nice that you know that about him. He's going to mock me about stories that I tell. You know what's funny is that the only times I do that are on shows with him, because he's such a dipshit that I have to like try to fill dead air the entire time.
You have to know you got to take what he says in jest, but I respect his play. I respect how he plays and stuff. So I, respect him. All is said. I respect it. So I appreciate it.
I don't respect him at all. That's a terrible way to look at it, Matt.
I mean, can't go through your life, upset about everything. At least I try not to be.
Well, it depends. With him, I try to be upset because it's more fun than the inverse, but I'm ready to dive into this slate. I'm running the contest sim, and Obviously, it depends which contest you're in for like the $4, 10% here. I'm going to be running this sim. I'm running actually 80 lineups today. So I'm going to be running 80 lineups. That's going to be my allocation. How many lineups are you going to be playing today? So I kind of know how to phrase questions as we're moving along.
I'm playing a few more than normal today. I'm playing 10.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Few more than normal. It's an 11-game slate. We've got a lot of interesting places. There's no Coors Field. The wind's blowing in at Wrigley. Our pets' heads are falling off. So we've got a ton to be able to start breaking down when it comes to that. Hit the like button as we start things off. I see my guy Clintwood. You guys might be muted in playback. Of course we are. Of course we are. That's just how it always rolls. There we go. Now we're not. Wanted to make sure I had playback going. And right now, playback.tv/Stokastic is where you can find all of this of the goodness over at Portfolio EV, completely free to you. If you look at the top of the board there, we've got Wyatt Johnston, total shots on goal. We got Alyssa Thomas, assists. We've got NHL, WNBA, MLB a little bit further down there. Spencer Steer, over 0.5 home runs, plus 1,300 at ProfitX. That's a gigantic number for anybody. I guess it's just a terrible hitting environment. We'll talk about it all starting right now. But you can see the screen that I am sharing right now over here on YouTube. If you're watching us over on X on the Stokastic what would be Twitter handle. Again, I always want to say Twitter still, no matter what. We begin with the pitcher position. And with the wind blowing in at Wrigley yet again, we've got Cade Horton. We've got some of these guys pulling ownership, but I want to start on the expensive end because I alluded to it as we began our program. DraftKings decided to nuke Hunter Brown and Carlos Rodon and Nathan Eovaldi, three pitchers who have had really good results to start off this season. One's in a good spot relative to the others. I would say Carlos Rodon against the Angels, pretty nice spot to land considering they have really struggled against left-handed pitching despite their all right-handed batters. 75 WRC plus for the season. A 191 ISO is a gigantic number against lefties, so there is some long ball potential, but you got to feel pretty good if you're Carlos Rodon landing into this spot. As for Hunter Brown, he's had an unbelievable start to his season. The Athletics do have a couple of lefties to worry about, but such a generous ballpark for a pitcher going up against a bunch of lefties. And then the righties, Brent Rooker, it's going to be harder for him to pull a baseball against Hunter Brown here in this spot. And Nathan Eovaldi, we just saw it. Toronto is really hard to strike out. In fact, Jacob deGrom, first career start with 0 strikeouts. What a time to be alive. Are any of these three going to be cracking one of your 10 lineups today?
Yeah, definitely. I don't love any of them, but I'm definitely playing some Hunter Brown. I mean, I'm just a Hunter Brown guy. He's expensive, but there are ways around that. I like the spot at home against the Athletics. Athletics do have some vibes right now after winning for the first time in 20 games on Sunday, but Brown is just in a really good spot here at home. The only thing about Brown is he's too expensive, and I get that, but he's also not really getting ownership. He's the lowest owned of all the expensive guys outside of Joe Ryan, who I also like. Well, Eovaldi too, but we'll get to him in a second. So I like Hunter Brown quite a bit. Rodon is the guy that I do think gets a lot of love, and I get it. I'm lower on him than the field. I like Brown and Ryan more, but Rodon looks good here. I mean, the Angels are kind of a boom-bust offense. They have power, especially from the right side, but they also strike out. They never walk, which is like Rodon's kryptonite. So this is a good spot for him on paper. He's expensive. He's coming off a really good start against Texas where he got every single borderline strike call. Little nervous coming off a start like that because if he doesn't get those calls, starts putting guys on base. I mean, we've seen this before with him. So I like him. He's not a priority for me. I like Hunter Brown more than I like Rodon. He's not a priority for me, but I'm playing some. And then Eovaldi, a little bit torn with. I feel like DeGrom yesterday was more about DeGrom than it was the Jays, just in terms of how his stuff was yesterday. That said, the Jays don't strike out, so it's not like that was an aberration yesterday. They're a team that doesn't strike out a lot. They go into games wanting to put the ball in play. They don't have a ton of power. Their offense isn't great, but they don't strike out. Eovaldi's just a really good pitcher, though, and he's going to fall through the cracks in a big way on this slate. I'm not scared of this Toronto offense at all. I won't play a ton of Eovaldi, but I might have him in 1 or 2 just because he's a really good pitcher. I like this spot for Texas's offense, and he's not going to get any ownership. So interested, not a priority. All is said, I don't think you have to prioritize any of these guys.
I don't think you have to prioritize any of them. And that was kind of what I was alluding to. I was curious in 10 lineups if there was anybody that was going to like show up in a prominent way for you whatsoever, purely because for me, definitely not going to be the case. I don't really have a ton of any of them. Rodon, I'm below the field. I'm closer to him than I am anybody else. Again, brought up some of the Angels' inadequacies. Hunter Brown's 11K, man. You need a massive game from him. And then as we get into the mid-range, we've got a guy in Cade Horton who's projecting better than he is here at Stokastic today. He gets the Rockies bump, which is incredible. The wind blowing in at Wrigley, which is incredible. Just so many good things that are going in his direction that I don't find any of the expensive pitchers. And I'd be the first person to tell you when there's just somebody coming in lower owned that I thought I'd want to just slam, like windmill slam, find a little bit of a, lower owned pieces. But considering we get to this next year where Joe Ryan, tough spot going into Tampa with that wind blowing out ever so slightly, but mainly the heat and humidity that you're going to get this summer. I mean, it's just beginning, friends. We're going to see some massive game environments in Tampa as we get into the hot summer months. Corbin Burns gets Pittsburgh, and Corbin Burns been looking better in the strikeout department. Once again, buoyed a little bit by facing Colorado. And Tyler McGill, which I think is probably the most difficult for me to figure out now, Matt. I think the lineup that they rolled out is not the best for strikeouts. I had Tyler McGill kind of circled, highlighted, starred last night as somebody that I might want to ladder up. He's up to a 31% K rate on the season. The stuff has just been much improved as it is for pretty much the entire Mets rotation. They've done an amazing job this season at just kind of winning games with these starters, with their pitching. And the changeup looks filthy, 38% whiff percentage. Last season, it was only an 11% whiff percentage on that pitch. We're talking a completely different dude going up against lefties with that changeup. But this lineup that the White Sox rolled out, it's not good, but they really do not strike out. Mydroth, 12.9% K rate. Tauchman, 14.3%. Caro, 14.4%. Miguel Vargas, 17.6%. Benintendi, sub 20%. I know they traded Matt Tice. He's no longer up there, sub 20% at the top of the lineup, but they really lean into just not striking out with those main dudes, and all of their strikeout bats are at the bottom of the lineup or not in the lineup because Luis Robert not there. Mr. Robert, how are you thinking about this mid-range of pitchers where I think there's some appealing tournament options, but there might also be some traps too?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some traps. I'm with you in your assessment totally. I'll start with McGill because I think he's going to be the highest owned of these guys, after Horton. The price tag is just really nice, and the matchup's really good. He was popular on the last slate he was on against Boston in Fenway. He was really, really good that start. So I just think he's higher owned tonight. I'm with you on the White Sox lineup. That's what happens when you take Luis Robert out of it. You lose upside, but you also lose a lot of that, that K potential in there. So I understand McGill's ownership. I don't love it though. I do think that he comes in like close to 40% in the higher stake, smaller field stuff. So I'm a little bit leery of that, but I don't think he's a bad play at all. The guy I really like here is Joe Ryan. Expensive at 9,700, but outside of the ballpark, just a really high upside spot for him. I mean, this is a boom bust spot. Like he could get shelled here. We know that this park is small and plays to hitting, but Ryan has a ton of K upside in this spot, and he's not going to get owned like it. So he's probably, all things considered, ownership considered and all that, my favorite pitcher on the slate. I'm a ride or die with Ryan tonight. He's a guy that I've used a ton in the past, so I feel comfortable with him, and he's just a guy that I think is going to fall through the cracks a little bit too much on this slate.
Kind of agree with you. And I'm not a big Joe Ryan fan. And I'm a Minnesota Twins fan for what it's worth. I've kind of hated Joe Ryan multiple times purely because I think he gives up so many barrels. And this is kind of the story of Bailey Ober. It's been the story of a lot of these guys. And Pablo Lopez ran into terrible BABIP last year for what it's worth. But I look at the construction of this lineup for Tampa Bay. There are some scary dudes, and getting Josh Lowe in the 1-2 there, they don't really strike out, but that heart of the order, Brandon Lowe, Aranda, Mr. Caballero, Meisner, these are going to be some strikeout opportunities, and Joe Ryan's strikeout stuff has been unequivocally better this season. 30.6% K rate, the highest of his career thus far. 3.18 expected ERA to go with it. I think overall, Joe Ryan is one of those guys that on a slate like this, where you just tell me that he's going to pull no ownership, I like boosting a little bit of Joe Ryan and getting to him there. And we talked about Tyler McGill. I think we both had the same kind of question marks. We had a comment here in the chat as well. I'm a ride or die with Brady Singer. Okay, well, you are stronger than I am. Low pitch counts too for McGill. McGill ran into a couple of really, really dicey situations against the Boston Red Sox, against the Yankees, against the Cubs. We're talking three of the most potent offenses in baseball. And he had crazy strikeout stuff in each. I think he has a chance to get back to that 105 pitches we saw against Washington back on the 27th. He hasn't had any injuries. They've been pretty much just able to do whatever they want with this pitching staff. It's like the inverse of the Dodgers. And I think Tyler McGill is one of those guys that is going to be very, very popular. But as I said before, I just don't know about the strikeout stuff. What are you going to do with Corbin Burnes, though? Because he is also one of those other guys that's going to pull ownership in this range. And I said it before, I don't really know what to do with him. Joe Ryan, I'm just kind of clicking on because I think the ownership at 11.8% is too low. But Burnes, quarter of lineups against Pittsburgh. How are you feeling?
I don't feel great about it, but first let me touch on the McGill pitch count thing, because I do think it's kind of an issue. I'm with you. This could be the spot where we see more pitches, but he hasn't thrown a pitch in the 6th inning in May. So, like,
that's true.
It's concerning, if nothing else. I wouldn't say concerning, but I think that speaks to his probably lack of real high-end upside. That said, he's cheap, relatively considered. So, like, I don't really care that much. I do think that if you want to nitpick, you can pick that against him, though. Burnes is just not a guy I play hardly ever. His strikeout stuff doesn't match his price tag and ownership. This is a cush spot, though. Like, I have zero interest in stacking Pittsburgh against him. So, like,
correct.
Do I think he's a bad play? No. I just think that there's other guys I like more. He's pitching well right now. So, like, I feel part of me is like, if you're not playing Burnes at 9,300 on this slate at home against Pittsburgh, you're really not playing him. I'm fine with that. I don't play much of him anyways. And also, it's not really about that. It's about the other options that I like more. I think he's totally fine, but I just think there are other guys I like more.
Yeah, I just don't know what I'm going to do with him yet. I'm not going to even act like I do. It's probably going to I'll keep updating ownership. We'll see as some other lineups roll in. And we're going to go all the way up until lock, 7:05 p.m. Eastern time. Can't wait to be breaking that all down for you here as well. But I truly don't know what I'm going to end up with him, my allocation, until it's all said and done, until we talk through the rest of this slate, because I think he's somebody I could live without. But I think it goes back to the Cubs game. He looked incredible in that. And 6 innings pitched, only 2 earned in that game environment, 13-11. It just went completely bonkers as soon as he checked out of that baseball game. And since then, he's just looked so different to me and continues to have high upside strikeout stuff. I mean, the Dodgers, Colorado, despite the fact that his season-long strikeout rate doesn't look all that good, I think he's still kind of that guy who can turn it on any given time when the pitches are just kind of falling into place. And then you get this Pittsburgh lineup with O'Neill, Cruz, Brian Reynolds. They've been striking out a ton this season. And so you get you're guaranteed almost 3 times if he has a decent outing through this lineup and getting to face both of them. I see why the ownership is where it is, but I also don't know if we have to go there, because this next range of Max Meyer, who very tough spot for him. And then the chalk of all chalk today, Cade frickin' Horton, just like we would all expect Cade Horton to be massive, insane giga chalk, but it's an incredible game environment. We saw it yesterday with the PCA ball that just died in midair. He's limited hard contact, sub 40%, and I think the strikeout stuff is going to come along for the ride here early on. He's a 23-year-old with really high quality stuff. It's shown out in the minors to some extent already. I mean, we're seeing crazy high upside against against righties. I mean, righties can't even touch him at AAA for the Iowa Cubs. 0.78 whip against them, 22 strikeouts and just 67 batters faced, striking out near over 33% of batters from the right side. Yeah, Colorado's forced to roll out a bunch of them. Matt, I kind of feels like yesterday with Jameson Taillon, where I just said I'm going to play infinity amounts of him. I'm going to play infinity amounts of Cade Horton, and I don't see a way around it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, he hasn't been amazing, or he hasn't been great to start his
No,
major league
not
career.
good at all. No.
Nah, but now he's facing another minor league lineup. He was clearly good in the minors. He's one of the top 50 prospects in all of baseball. Like, a buddy woke me up this morning messaging me saying, there is no way in hell I'm playing 50% Cade Horton. No way, no how. And I was like, to be fair, like, he's a top pitching prospect in all baseball. You can't get a better spot at home against the Rockies with wind blowing in Wrigley Field. Like, it doesn't mean it has to work out because, like you said, he hasn't been good. So I do think the Rockies are better than a minor league offense. I was saying that in jest, but not much better. You look at the pieces in this lineup, they probably should be better, but they're not. So the spot's just too good for Horton at a really cheap tag. I don't want to say I'm worried about his ownership. His ownership's going to be high, but like with pitchers like this, I'm not ever concerned about it if I think it's warranted, and I think it's warranted here. So I'm going to play a bunch of Horton. He's not going to be in 100% of my lineups, but he will be my most owned pitcher here.
All right, hang on one second. Byron Buxton doesn't make it through LMAO Classic. I'm going to give him a pass on this. This was a fluke.
Yeah, same. He's out for like a week, right?
Yeah, it's a concussion. What are you going to do? Carlos Correa's back. Byron Buxton. I don't know what to say. It's a huge bummer because, as a Twins fan, I'd rather have him in lineups than, I don't know, Jonah Bride or something like that. But yeah, well, it is what it is. Different positions, but you know what I mean. I'm just saying that, of course, Byron Buxton was on a freaking tear, and this happens. It's just our luck, but we'll get there because I do think that we're going to find something that I'm going to like here as we finish out this show leading up to lock. But I don't know really what to say about Cade Horton other than the fact that he stands out big time to me. But now is where it gets dicey, and it normally does on these kind of slates where, yeah, we have this amazing tier of starting pitching. We have this top tier, but it's very unattainable because of how expensive they are. We then have this 9K tier that's not pulling a ton of ownership. I think McGill probably gets steamed up. I'm with you there. I think Burns probably sits there as well. Kolek, I'm on the over of his strikeouts, but that's because it's plus money, 4.5 plus 115. But is there anything in the 7K range that you even want to click on whatsoever? I saw some crazy person say that they're going to hitch their wagon to Brady Singer. It's good pitching weather, but also it's Brady Singer. And I think I have a pretty good chance of making contact with his pitch mix. Brady Singer is not a strikeout artist by any stretch of the imagination. Does he have revenge in his heart against the Kansas City Royals? I guess we'll find out. But I'll get to a little Taj Bradley, and that's about freaking it.
Yeah, Taj Bradley's the guy there. I'm not playing him, but he would be the guy I'd play on this range. I don't hate it. I think he's a fine play. He hasn't been great this year, but he says strikeout upside. We know that. So, I don't hate Bradley. Not on Singer. The only good thing I'll say about Singer is he really struggles against lefties, and KC doesn't really have lefties. So, I don't like Singer, but I don't think he gets shelled here. So it's about all the endearing stuff I can say about him. My problem with this range is Bradley's the guy, but after that, I think there's two cheap guys I would play over anyone else in this range. So yeah, Bradley or nothing for me here.
It's kind of what it is for me too. I'm going to get to, because I'm playing 80 lineups. For those who didn't catch the beginning of the show, Matt is playing the highest of high stakes on DraftKings, playing 10 lineups, firing it up, getting some different pitchers I think that we'll get to in the cheap end. But this 7K range just doesn't look all that appealing to me. I'm going to get to a little bit of Taj Bradley just because I have more lineups in play. But I will also say that if you were to play 10 lineups in high stakes today, be just fine bypassing him and calling it a day. The Twins are in a much better spot than what they showed out yesterday. Only 2 runs against Zach Littell, because of course, but Taj Bradley 7K range getting a little dicey. But boy, oh boy, let's go sub 7K dumpster diving. I got a guy. I know you have a guy. I don't think they're the same guy. I'm hearing Logan Evans in the chat. I'm seeing a little bit of Bowden Francis love, which, I don't think anybody loves Bowden Francis at the moment. I've got somebody that I might get to even a little bit down here in this disgusting corner. Who are these pitchers that you're alluding to, Matt? The 2 pitchers you're looking at sub 7K.
There's 2 guys I think in play here. I'm not playing them, but I think if you wanted to, you could.
Okay.
It's Mitchell Parker in Seattle at 6,300. It's Seattle at home against the lefty. They strike out. Parker's not good, but he's not a trash can. So, like, you could take shots on him. If I were playing 150, I'd be taking shots on him. And then I hate this because I've played so much Texas lately, but it's clearly Bowden Francis, excuse me. He's under 6K. He sucks against lefties, but he's fine against righties. And still with no Seager, like, Texas's lineup doesn't really have many lefties you're scared of. So, like, I still think the likely outcome is that Texas gets to him here, even though they've been awful because he's not good. But, like, whenever you get these starters that are like actual starters and they're under 6K, like, and they have the ability to go deep into games, they're in play if for that and nothing else. And Francis fits that mold. Like, Marquez also fits that mold, and he was really good on the last start. He's in a much tougher spot, though. So, like, I think you can look at Marquez's last start as the example of why someone like Francis, or even Marquez himself, if you wanted to make that reach, is in play. Because when you get starters that are capable of going deep in games under 6K, they're just inherently underpriced. Now, we might not have the offenses to spend on it where it's needed today, but if you're going to tell me he's going to have a good score of 5,700, I'd play him no matter what. So I get it.
It gets disgusting down here, and yet I can't really advocate for going nuts with anybody, but I mean, Logan Evans also is very much in play against Washington. I know CJ Abrams, James Wood having career years. They're both exceptionally talented lefties.
Wood is so good.
Yeah, Wood is 22 years of age.
He's so good.
Doing ridiculous things here at the major league level, but it is the best ballpark you could possibly get dropped into to potentially find some upside just out of the middle of nowhere. And that's where Logan Evans, Mitchell Parker are both kind of the main two that fit the bill for me. I also think Bowden Francis, everything that I'm seeing in chat especially is pushing the Bowden Francis narrative. I have no problem with it whatsoever. No problem. Ooh, Smith and some call-up. Yeah. Let's get to the absolute disgusting click of the day. And no, it is not German Marquez. We can't do that against the Cubs, even in a great pitching environment. And I said Palmquist would be all right. I think there were certain slates where, 8% Palmquist when he was 1% would have been all right. But, obviously didn't have any strikeout upside. Am I really going to click on Daniel Lynch today? Is this something that I'm actually going to do? Because, he doesn't have any ability to really pitch deep into this game whatsoever. He's 6,200. Is there any way that he gets up to, as far as what his innings could be here, where he could get 4 or 5 innings? I don't think so. I'm probably going to play 0 when it's all said and done. But just looking to try to find anything we possibly can. We got bullpen arm. Burrow's up against Arizona. Good luck with that. German Marquez against Chicago. Yeah, I can't really make a case for anybody else down here. It's basically Evans and Parker for me.
Yeah, that's it. They don't even look good either, but they're fine.
So, highest owned pitcher on DraftKings for you today.
It's Horton. Yep. And then Ryan is right below him, though.
Yeah. Okay. Joe Ryan, look at that. You are a man who is.
I'll shove. If I have conviction. So if nothing else, I have conviction. So I'll go down, but I have conviction, and that's how I think you got to play, at least how I have to play.
Hang on 1 second here. Hang on. Why are people the way that they are?
That is a question we'll never know the answer to. Why? What's going on? We're still muted on here?
Nope, we're not muted. I'm not. Oh, you might be.
I don't think so, but
okay. I can hear me. So that's cool. Anyway, people are funny. It's like Bo, take a bow. Yeah, we'll break down what we've got going with Bowden Francis. I think he's just fine. EMAC GOAT. Yes, he named exactly who we would be going to when it comes to the pitcher category on cash games on DraftKings. But we're going to jump over to FanDuel here quickly for the people. I'm in the single lineup simulator, one of the amazing tools we have here at Stokastic, setting you up for success. We've got 35 minutes left in the show, 35 minutes before lock. And I do think pitcher is pretty clear cut. When you get somebody that stands out as much as what Horton does today over on DraftKings, awesome. You just kind of find your way to him. On FanDuel, 29% ownership going his direction. And there are a lot of guys with strikeout props that look pretty darn enticing Carlos Rodon, second most popular, sitting there at 15%. Corbin Burns, 12 and change. Hunter Brown. I'm looking at the top pitchers tool as we go along with this too. And there is some leverage to be had, but man, it gets really, really dicey to get away from some of these more popular pitchers. Do you have a favorite not named Cade Horton for FanDuel purposes?
Oh, man. Not named Horton. Ownership is so flat outside of Horton, outside of Rodon getting a little bit. Yeah, even though his price is like, it's the same. So it's going to be Ryan for me, but I would understand McGill more here. I also just feel like it's easier to get to, like, bats are just cheaper on FanDuel generally. One-off bats are, so probably Ryan, but man, like, it's hard to get away from Horton at that tag.
Oh, I know what's going on. I know who it is now. Of course it was Jesse.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I thought you could see the screen. You're not seeing the screen.
I can, but it's like not coming up like it's like blurry-ish, so I can't. Nobody
is muted. Wish Eric was. It's just okay. Jesse being Jesse, because I bashed him at the beginning of the show because he's a dipshit.
Well, I'm glad that he is watching. So hey,
I'm not Benny Tingman. No, but this was the thing. This was the thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like
love is love.
Yeah. Like,
come on, bro.
Come on.
Whatever. Let's finish out FanDuel conversation here. Let's find some people a little bit of goodness here. I think Taj Bradley is probably my favorite relative to ownership at the moment. It is an uncomfortable click. We got like a 4.5 implied total for the Minnesota Twins today. The wind is blowing out. We've got power up and down. We got so many pieces, but Taj Bradley's looked much more comfortable in this ballpark. He's found ways of finding strikeout upside in the past. Hasn't been this season, that's for sure. But I think against Minnesota, when you look at the lineup that they're having to roll out day in, day out, you can avoid some massive blowups. Kind of similar to the White Sox, where all of their main guys who don't strike out are in the top 5 of this lineup. Larnach, Jeffers, Correa, Lee, and France. All of them pretty darn good at avoiding strikeouts. But then you get to the back half. Cody Clemens, Jonah Bride, Billy Castro, Kiersey Jr., all of them strike out ad nauseum. If you can get to him a third time, I think there's a world where Taj Bradley has more upside than is currently being projected for him. I think the range of outcomes is very, very wide for him today. Somebody I want to stack against, somebody that I also want to play a little bit of. Taj Bradley, can you click on that on FanDuel at, what is this price tag? 8,600.
Yeah, I mean, he's cheap enough for like, I feel like at that point, if he just outscores Horton, you're in great shape. So, like, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. Like, Horton's going to be that much higher owned. Like, there's no reason he should be that much higher owned. It's just hard for me to say, like, in one lineup to recommend someone else. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, in any one lineup, though, I think playing basically anyone else makes a lot of sense, especially because pricing, like I said, is generally looser on FanDuel. So, yeah.
Love. Live and advertise. We've got the playback rocking. It's rocking, baby. It's been rocking for 25 minutes, 30 minutes. We've been rocking. Hit the like button here on YouTube as well as we are going along. We just broke down pitchers for you guys at length. We have a ton of stack conversation. There's 11 games going down today. And I think there's a lot of different avenues where we can get a little bit different. We can find a little bit of upside on today's program. So as we go along, hit the like button. And also the thing we are sharing over in playback is, of course, Portfolio EV. Portfolio EV is a market-based tool. It is showing you the best bets from across the entire industry, no matter what state you live in, whether that's California with ProfitX, Onyx Odds, and NoVig, whether that's in Florida, where EMAC himself, EMAC 2028, you know it's going to happen, baby. You've got Hard Rock. You've got a ton of the pick'em sites. You've got a couple of other sports books that you can utilize to your advantage, whether that's in Maine, where it's DraftKings only, Oregon, I think still DraftKings only as well. Lots of places where you can still utilize these tools to help you make some coin, no matter what sports books you have at your disposal. Now, I'm currently sharing over in playback.tv/Stokastic, the Portfolio EV tool. But if you want to sign up for it yourself, head to the link below right now. Also, be checking out G. Ehrenberg DFS, Greg Ehrenberg's threads on the daily. Of course, we will also have the NBA show showing up here for you. That is going to be coming your way very shortly here, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, so 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Get ready to rock. Game 4, huge one. Indy hosting the Knicks. Hopefully game 3, we can run that one back another time. Just maybe not Cat being the reason that they smash, because I don't think my Timberwolves heart can take it. But you can take Portfolio EV on a ride right now. 7-day free trial at the link below. Stop guessing, start winning. That is applicable to OddsShopper and Portfolio EV as well. All right, my friend. It is stacky stack time, and we have a ton of conversation to get to about this, more so than I think we normally do, because there's no Coors Field. There's also a great game environment, but 2 really good pitchers throwing in it. We've got Joe Ryan, and Taj Bradley's all right. I mean, again, Taj Bradley has not had the best season by his standards. He's been a strikeout artist in the past. That hasn't come to fruition this year, but Minnesota's still 5th in popularity in stacks, and they're way more popular than Tampa is. Houston, the chalk of all chalk against JP Sears with a bunch of pull hitters. In fact, so far this season, Isaac Paredes, number 1 in terms of the pull rate. We have so many new metrics over at Baseball Savant to be combing through. I've been combing through those pretty daily since they dropped a week ago. And one of the things I find so interesting is just looking at some of the launch angle rates when you can look at the batting stance and how a player is attacking a ball. Isaac Paredes, Christian Walker, there's a reason they're on the Houston Astros. It's called the Crawford boxes. Short left porch, find ways to pull the baseball. Houston, thus against a lefty, your mega chalk today in terms of ownership, but SimStool doesn't love them as much. And I think there are a couple of reasons why. If you had 1 stack to rule them all today, Matt, and 1 stack to find them, who are you rolling out in one lineup?
Definitely not Houston. They're way overowned. My answer to that question is going to be the Mets.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't think Cannon is like the worst pitcher in the world, but I don't think he's good. And the White Sox bullpen is horrendous. I love the mojo the Mets got going late yesterday, scoring late. I like picking on teams like that. And I've never mind picking on the White Sox, as I mentioned. So I think ownership, as I mentioned, is flat. I like the lineup the Mets rolled out with today. A little bit hard to stack because they go first, third, which is weird. Alonso, Beatty, Jared Young, Vientos. So you got 2 of each there, makes it tricky, but it kind of fits how I like to stack anyways. So I'm playing the Mets here. They're my top stack on the board, with Boston a close second.
Yeah, we got ourselves Brett Beatty moved up in that order for sure. And as I look through the Sims tool, I mean, that is definitely going to be a stack that I like a lot. Brett Beatty up to the 5 hole. The guy's been just raking since he got back from AAA, finding ways to just make hard contact. He's been buried in that lineup. And now, just because offensively, I mean, you watched that game yesterday. I had a first 5 under on the game, and I just was like, hey, that was an easy cash. And I assumed the Mets lost the game because it just felt like that kind of a game. Apparently they came back and won 2-1, but like offensively, they haven't looked great over the course of the last week. And, you know, there's a lot of upside that is just kind of waiting in the wings. And Juan Soto, despite the fact that the results haven't been all that good, slashing 233, 361, 409, which would be like all-time career worse. He's got a 425 xWOBA. He's got nearly a 300 expected batting average. Things are going to turn around for him. Pete Alonso got off the schneid on Sunday after 16 homerless games in a row, the longest streak of his big league career. Lots of reasons to be optimistic about the Mets going forward. Oh, yeah, Matt. And it's the White Sox bullpen. So I see it the same way you do. They're my favorite stack on the board.
Sweet. Love that. Love hearing that. We'll know early because they're one of the first games to start. There are other offenses I like here. So I'm not playing 100% Mets, but they're my favorite stack on the board.
All right. Well, not playing 100% Mets. And I think that that's just fine because we're playing MLB DFS.
Yeah, right.
But that's probably not the path that you want to be going down here.
It sounded foolish after I said it, so thank you.
Oh, no. I wasn't foolish by any means. But let's pull up these top 150 lineups that I simmed out here before the show. I'm going to show you all what we are dealing with right now. Cade Horton pulling tons of ownership there, as you should. 82% of lineups. I'd be just fine rolling that out. Yesterday, I had a little less than that of Jameson Taillon, but same ballpark area, just not a free square, but like it's just hard to get away from them against the Rockies in Wrigley. But from a batting perspective, I do think there's pieces of Houston that I will get to. Yenner Diaz, Christian Walker, Isaac Paredes, but I'm definitely not going to be 5-manning them up the way that it appears that the field is. I definitely like them more as a secondary stack. And as you can see right below it there, the Mets going to be one that I get to. I've got this stack that I'm absolutely obsessed with as well. The Boston Red Sox, Rafael Devers, Wilyer Abreu. Kind of a weird lineup, if you ask me, getting Narvaez up there, batting third, getting Campbell in the cleanup spot. Where did that come from? I don't know. And something named a Marcelo Meyer. So he's
one of the top prospects in all baseball.
Exactly. Marcelo Meyer is.
You did that dirty by saying something called Marcelo Meyer. You got to reserve that for guys that stink.
But he's 22. He's only slashing 264, 342, 465 at Worcester. Like, that doesn't look great to me, if I'm being honest.
That's fair. That is totally fair.
I
think they just need an infusion of young talent, and he's a guy that has a ton of pedigree. So I'm sure Roman Anthony will be next because this offense is struggling a little bit. Campbell hitting cleanup is pretty crazy. He hasn't done anything in like a month, hitting like borderline 100 since I think he hurt his wrist like a month ago. He hit cleanup yesterday. He got a hit. I'm with you. I like this lineup. I like picking on Savali. He's not good. It is a weird lineup. Maybe that keeps people off them, but for me, it's more about just the full stack as it is like any one hitter.
Yeah, I'll just take Devers in my Boston stacks. I will do that. Good times.
Yeah, him and Duran.
Yeah, him, Duran, Wilyer Abreu. I know Meyer is, again, it's just playing on the fact that he hasn't been very good, and here he is. Just letting you know. Just letting you know. Also, Worcester, is that how you say that? Is that real? Worcester? Worcester?
Yeah,
no way. Is it really how you say that? Yeah, the Northeast has made up things. Whether it's the Pennsylvania accent that actually is an accent, I hear it sometimes on Laffy, on Aton, but not very often. They're pretty standardized. What was that show with Kate Winslet where she ended up busting that out, and it just caught me by surprise? Then I'm like, oh yeah, they do have that accent, and they say random words. However, Boston does the same thing. They say made up words. It sounds crazy to me.
I agree.
Worcester. There we go. Thank you, everybody. I learned something new today. Isn't that fun? Anyway, Arizona, another stack. Arizona's another stack that's showing up ad nauseum here. They get to go up against a beautiful, beautiful Burrows. This will be real fun. Mike Burrows starting things off. Hey, he's one of the most touted guys. Number 15 in the pipeline. No, he's not. He's not touted in any way, shape, or form. The fact that this isn't Chandler getting called up is so egregious, I don't have words for it. He got completely lit up against the Milwaukee Brewers his first time out in PNC. Even with the roof closed there at Chase Field, don't think it's going to go much better for him this time around. I think Arizona's a team that the Sims tool is pushing up. Definitely like getting to here. I'm going to be trimming this Houston number for sure as we go along. But this is kind of interesting. I brought them up before. I like Taj Bradley on DraftKings, somebody that I'm going to be over the field on. I know Matt said that he's not playing him, but would be considering. How do you feel about the Minnesota Twins if you're not going to roll out any Bradley?
I like them here, playing some Twins. Not a ton of Twins, but I'm playing some. I'm more Twins than I am Bradley. Huge ballpark upgrade, nice price tags, low ownership. Sign me up.
Matt is the king of the... Surprised Eric doesn't know Toll Booth Willie. Wow, I don't know Toll Booth Willie at all.
The king of what?
I'm pulling up king of the no sell. Just being like, oh, I just wanted to be invigorating. For me, I think Matt does a great job of selling his conviction. He literally has more conviction, I think, with certain plays than I do. Like, I have conviction, but generally what I have are some real dusty and grimy guys to try to win a 30,000 person tournament. Whereas my boy Matt, he's playing in sharper fields. He's playing at the top tier, top money, top dollar. And
I mean, I said 5 minutes ago, I'm playing a ton of Joe Ryan. I don't know what you want from me.
Oh, not selling my jokes. That makes way more sense.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many of them. Like, I mean, you just got to sometimes just let them breeze past, right? Because if you respond to all of them, then it's like they're not funny.
Fuck you, Anthony. Anyway, let's continue on our merry way. Indeed, AJ Verse, as you hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell. We brought up a bunch of stacks that we like. Are there some popular stacks on DraftKings that you do not like at their current ownership? Because I have a plenty.
Not really, just because I don't think any team besides Houston is like that overowned. And even Houston, I don't think is a bad stack. I mean, I get it. this matchup is really good for Houston. Sears is a guy that gives up power to righties. They're playing in Houston. Like, this is the ideal spot for the Astros. So I get it. I think they're over-owned, and they're not owned appropriately to their chances of being the top stack on the slate. But I don't think they're a bad play. And then the teams like after that, the Yankees are the next highest owned, and they're way under-owned according to our tools. So, no, I mean, like, I don't love the Yankees here because Tyler Anderson's a guy that reverse splitsy. I feel like people like to pick on him more than they should. He's not a bad pitcher. He's not a pitcher we like to use in DFS, but the Yankees like aren't that owned. So I can't say that. Nah, I'm not sure. Actually, I know that ownership will not actually come in this flat. So there will be teams that are over-owned. I'm not sure who they are right now, though.
Yeah, I think the Yankees are going to be a little over-owned, and I'm not a big Tyler Anderson guy, Mr. Anderson, but the Yankees, I mean, we've just got them with a 24% five-man stack, negative ROI, and the Angels bullpen is still serviceable enough there late innings. I don't find it to be that appealing of a spot. It's a good ballpark. It's a great lineup in terms of what the Yankees roll out on a day in, day out basis in terms of upside. But if they're going to be your most popular stack here on today's slate, I just have so many other places that I would rather go. And we've got them second in terms of ownership share behind the Houston Astros. I would much rather play the Mets at equal ownership against the White Sox, and then the White Sox bullpen than against Tyler Anderson, a lefty there, neutralizing some of the lefties that I want to get to, like Grisham, Bellinger. Those are the guys with a ton of upside. Spam call, of course. But Boston, like getting to them. Minnesota, like getting to them. Arizona, Mets. But boy, I really don't like getting to the Yankees. And then five-man stacks of Houston, probably going to be a pass for me as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm not five-man stacking the Yankees or Houston. So I get it. There's other good teams I like a lot on this slate. You talked about two of them. Actually, you talked about more than two of them. Arizona's one of them. The Mets, Boston. I like the Twins. And then there's a couple lower owned teams I like too.
Okay, let's talk about them because why are they the Mariners?
I like the Mariners as pieces. They weren't one of the ones I was speaking of, but I do like them as pieces. They're not going to get a lot of ownership. Obviously, this park is tricky, but Parker's not great. This lineup's been very good, especially on the road, but even at home. So I think the Mariners are in play. I was talking about even lower on the board, though. That's kind of why I skipped them.
Ooh, let's get to it. I want to hear the dirty, grimy, disgusting, horrible, naughty stack that you're going to be playing today, Matt.
Well, I know that if Jesse has anything to say about it, he'll probably like this stack because according to him, it's always the Nats, and I like the Nats here. Logan Evans is not good. The only thing I don't like about Washington in this spot is the ballpark. Other than that, I like everything. Low ownership, bad pitcher, fine price tags, a ton of lefties against Evans. I like Washington. We talked about James Wood. He's one of my favorite one-off bats on the slate. CJ Abrams, I like a ton. Luis Garcia, Keibert Ruiz, Nathaniel Lowe. I like that top five a lot. They got Lyle hitting ninth at the bottom of the lineup at 2K. He was raking in the minors. I'll play a little bit of him. I like the Nats. And then the other team I like here that I just can't get off of, and I'm certainly going to play some today against Bowden Francis, that's the Rangers. I mentioned they don't have a ton of lefties, which I wish, if they did, I would like them more. But they got a few. And you don't even need to be a good lefty to be in a good spot against Francis. So any lefty in the lineup, I'll take. And then they have got some righties that are just overall either good hitters or hitters with upside, a la Wyatt Langford, Adolis Garcia. I like Texas here a lot. My favorite one-off bat or cheat bet on the slate is on the Rangers. I'm going to save them for my dawn call.
Ooh, all right. Please don't say. Well, you can't say Adolis Garcia because that would be just insanity.
It is not Adolis Garcia.
Thank God, because he's literally been buried to the likes of which the world has never seen before. Alejandro Osuna is going to be crazy popular. I bet it's Osuna, isn't it? It's definitely Osuna.
It is, and I will be way over the field no matter how popular he is.
Yeah, he's 2.5K. he makes a lot of things work over on DraftKings, and you can look at the individual batters. That's the beauty of the Sims tool, everybody, is that you get the stack ROIs, and you get a really good idea of where people are going to land in tournaments through what we have in the top stacks tool. And then you can compare it side by side with what's actually simulating out well. People will talk about it in gist, but Colorado and Athletics going up against really popular pitchers are actually terrible stacks today. Whereas sometimes we see them with the best 5-man stack ROI. It's truly been one or the other. The other part that I find to be interesting is Seattle, Arizona, Houston. These are all your best 5-man stacks, but they're still negative. So it really depends on what else you're going to be sandwiching in with them. And no matter which way you slice it here, we go to our guy Osuna here, and it's not crazy in terms of the average simulated ROI. It's not crazy negative there at 10.2K, but this $2,500, if you're not going to play any of those dusty pitchers at the bottom, which I really do kind of recommend against today, Osuna makes things work in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, how popular do we have him projected to be?
Not very.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't imagine he's that popular just because Texas isn't popular, and there are other cheap bats. Like, he's not the only guy down there. So, like, I can't even imagine he's going to be popular.
Yeah, Osuna currently pulling 3% ownership. I'm getting like 5, and I'm actually just running my stuff over on the other side of the screen, just making sure that it's good to go.
To say I'm going to be over the field on him, would be the biggest understatement of the year.
So you're playing him in all 10?
Not all 10, but in a lot of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's one of those guys that it's hard for him to like hurt you as long as he does anything in high stakes, where you're playing like a small field tournament. Like, I hope people understand that too. You're going to need a big score out of him in large field stuff that I'm playing, but I'm only going to play around 10% of him in 80 lineups. That's still 8 of my lineups, since I'll have a decent amount of exposure to a guy at 3%. But I mean, when we go through these individually and we have some of these cheapies that we look at, I mean, Mitch Garver, there's a reason that he's simming out so well. He's 2,700. Lourdes Gurriel, 3,500 still, for God knows what reason. We don't have Ketel Marte in that lineup today, so you get a cheaper guy in Geraldo Perdomo, who's batting second. And then you still get Lourdes Gurriel, who's eternally in the 3-hole and eternally 3,500 on DraftKings. Why do they hate him so much?
Yeah, that price tag makes no sense. I mean, he hasn't had a great year, but like his upside alone and lineup spot just means he's just underpriced. There are a lot of guys underpriced on this slate. So like almost reminds me of FanDuel, and that's like dealer's choice of cheap bats. You can find them anywhere.
It's Worcester, not Worcester. Okay, good to know. Worcester. Good to know. I'm going to say Worcester from now on because I learned something new. It looks like Worcester. That's what it looks like for a name. And that's what I've said my whole life. So I guess I just don't know shit about fuck.
Reminds me of the sauce. I don't know if sauce, ingredient you put in Bloody Marys, Worcestershire.
Oh, yeah, Worcester sauce. That's literally what I thought it was. Anyway,
okay.
That's neither here nor there. What is here is that people want to see our FanDuel stacks, which I am more than happy to talk about here. We've got 12 minutes left in the program. Hit that like button if you could for me. Get us up over 150 so that Matt doesn't have to sing the Dong of the Day song like I would make Chris Baggs do. That would be really mean of me. That would actually be ridiculous. Yeah, Worcester sauce. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's exactly what it is. It's great. Yeah, Horton at pitcher. These are all good things. But FanDuel, we've seen traditionally a lot of popularity on some stacks that on DraftKings might be more difficult to achieve in terms of, you can get to the cheaper pieces in a lineup you're only playing for, but relative to salary on DraftKings, much easier to attain them over on FanDuel. However, once again, we have the Yankees just getting jammed against Tyler Anderson over there, and that makes it uncomfortable. Sure, you want to play Aaron Judge? Have fun playing Aaron Judge. You want to play Paul Goldschmidt as a one-off? Play Paul Goldschmidt. I just don't love getting to them at this kind of ownership today. I'd much rather play the Mets, even at negative leverage. I'd much rather play Arizona where they're at over on FanDuel. Do you have a favorite stack for FanDuel purposes today?
It looks very similar to DK to me. I'm going to say that my favorite stack here is Mets are a little bit higher owned. I'm going to say the Red Sox here, just not getting the ownership. They're more expensive than the Mets. I like Boston a lot tonight, so they're my favorite stack.
Okay. Yeah, Boston, I absolutely love today. There's nothing to really fear when it comes to Mr. Aaron Savale. He's just getting his feet wet yet again. It's problematic to watch Aaron Savale. 6.21 xFIP in that, 2 outings that he's had, 7 innings pitched this season.
Do you know who the Guardians got for Aaron Savale?
Oh, God. Is it probably going to be like Kyle Manzardo or something ridiculous?
It is exactly Kyle Manzardo. Nice job.
Yeah. Thank you. My brain still does work. I do know baseball players, but it's just one of those really ridiculous things where, yeah, do you want Aaron Savale or do you want Kyle Manzardo? I can give you an answer right now.
Right. Yeah, that's
ridiculous.
Yeah, that happens.
Baseball trades in hindsight look ridiculous sometimes.
Just not to say that.
Unfair thing. Like
Fernando Tatis for James Shields. I mean, the list goes on.
Oh, I mean, how about the heist now? You get 1 year of San Diego Soto for like
the whole Nationals team,
the Nationals entire squad.
Right. And they got guys still coming up in that trade.
Exactly. And CJ Abrams just keeps making it look better and better and better for them. I will point this out as well. We do have San Diego. We haven't talked about them whatsoever here. 3,200. I mean, second base, there's like nobody who's expensive on FanDuel for second base purposes or anything. Is there any love you have for San Diego? Because I think they're going to be extremely low owned against Max Meyer. We don't have Max Meyer projected that well, but we also don't have any love going towards the Padres. And I think eventually we're going to see them break out of this slump.
I agree. I like them here. I don't love them because of their tags and their not Meyer's good. He's not amazing. He's good. They're expensive and they're in a bad park, but they have upside. Like they have higher upside than most teams in baseball, in my opinion, just because of their lineup. So if I were playing 150, I'd be over the field. I'm playing pieces of them scattered throughout my lineups. I'm not 5-man stacking them. Thought about it. They were close, but even though 10 lineups is more than I normally play, you still can't play everyone. So like they're just on the outside looking in for me.
Yeah, I think they're outside looking in for me here as well. Going back to DraftKings here in the pre-contest simulator, we've got 8 minutes left in the program. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you get your lineups in. Don't pull an Eric Lindquist. I somehow, some way really haven't had a crazy sweat this year. I'm starting to feel mature. Maybe it took 5 years being here and like 11 years of DFS to finally not be a spaz at lock. But hey, improvement, progress, not perfection. That's what my friends in programs say to me. That's their motto. So I'm going to go with that. Progress, not perfection, Matt. That's what I'm aiming for.
Respect.
Yeah. Sometimes I suck as a host, but we can't really get everything that we want. 2 minutes until WNBA lock. That ain't for me, friends. That ain't for me. However, Portfolio EV, that I will repeat one more time for the people in the back, is a great way, a phenomenal way, in fact, to get all of the goodness that we have going over at OddsShopper. 7-day free trial available at the link below. Portfolio EV. I'm sharing that tab right now over at playback.tv/Stokastic. If you guys want to jump in, check it out. Would be very lovely for you. It's my bane for the day. I see why some people hate me. Anyway.
I think you're a great host.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. PCA is going to go down as one of the worst for Baz. Thank God Kelnick is a bum. I'm a Mets fan. Yeah, Jared Kelnick didn't really work out for anybody. Everybody wanted to take a shot on Jared Kelnick, and, well, that's a bummer because I do like it. Don't pull an Eric. Yeah, don't pull an Eric. Make sure you get your damn lineups in. That would be helpful. That would be helpful. Emac or Lindy, you never know. Yeah, both of us, we both have our moments. We both. Ingredient you put in Bloody Marys, not steak sauce, is insanely funny. They're both things that are for fantastic things, so take advantage of it. That'd be great. Worcestershire?
I thought it was Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
And I don't like it, but I know it's used in Bloody Marys. I love Bloody Marys. I don't like my Bloody Marys with Worcestershire, but it is an ingredient used in them.
Worcestershire. God, I'm learning so much today.
I'm glad.
You guys did great. Thank you for the content. Good luck, y'all. Yes, thank you very much. But we're not done yet. We've got 6 minutes left in this program. I'm making sure that Mr. Bellman gets his lineups in here as we're talking through it as well. But it is Dang of the day. Dang of the day. This is my Spags impression doing Dong of the day. I hate myself too. Matt, are you going to just run back Ozuna? 25 Hondo, talk to the people about your boy.
I feel like I can't because we already talked about it too much.
I boxed you into a corner by being able to identify what was going on there.
So I'm going to pivot to Adolis Garcia. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not. You don't hate yourself that much.
I'm going to go with a guy. I thought about James Wood here, and I like him. I'm going to go with a guy off a team we just talked about that I think is due for a big game, Jackson Merrill.
Oh, my.
He's just a really good baseball player. That's all it is.
He's a very good baseball player, and I was bringing him up. I think San Diego's one of those teams that we could look in hindsight and be like, man, I can't believe they were 3% owned across the board. But it's that kind of a slate. When you get 11 games and you get so many different environments that are just pretty neutral.
Yeah, there aren't that many great hitting spots. Sorry to interrupt you there.
And the one that is two of the better pitchers on the slate, or at least one of them for sure. Bryce Harper got hit and leaves the game after an HBP. That is not the droids you're looking for. That can't be ideal.
That sucks.
That does suck. Anyway, my home run call, we are going to go to against Joe Ryan, getting ourselves, as much as I do love Joe Ryan, Brandon Lau. I mean, this guy batting third behind two guys who just don't strike out all that much. I do think the Rays are a stack that I'm overweight to for good reason. It is one of the better hitting environments. Joe Ryan's good. There's not a ton of leverage to be stacking up against him. And yet I just look at the game environment. It is a ballpark that Joe Ryan's a fly ball pitcher, wind blowing out, high humidity, high opportunity. I'm going to take some shots on these guys. Moore's 2 and 3 mans once again with Aranda, with him, with the other Lowe, Josh Lowe, that is, Yandy Diaz, rotating a lot of these guys around. Do you have any raise with how much Joe Ryan you have?
No, I don't. If I wasn't playing so much Joe Ryan, I would, though. Like, I don't think they're bad plays. I'm playing the other side of it. And I generally don't hedge like that. Like, I don't usually play like a lot of Joe Ryan and then raise in my other lineups. I just won't play other lineups. So no, I mean, not that I never do that, but like I'm on Team Ryan tonight.
Gotcha. Want to give the people a glimpse a little bit at some of the lineups that we have going. Obviously, I have my own little personal section going, but Cade Horton, he looks too good. Tyler McGill, Corbin Burns, Carlos Rodon, Taj Bradley. That's almost identical to what I've got going over in my sidebar. I've got 72% Cade Horton. He's at 83% here in the Sims, and I am just fine with that. We're going to be well over the field. Even if he ends up being 50% like Tyon ended up yesterday, totally fine with it against the Rockies. I'll find other places to get different. Remind the people of your 3 favorite pitcher tournament targets.
Yeah, it's definitely Horton, Ryan, and then 3 is tough. I think a lot of guys you could say for number 3. I'm going to say Hunter Brown, though, is my 3rd favorite.
We got some Dansby Swanson love coming in. We got Reese Hoskins going yard. Rafaela in the 9-hole dong. That would be a fun one. He's been hitting the ball hard. Nothing to show for it. Devers dong tonight. Your lips to God's ears. Isaac Paredes automatic. I like him. I bet him to hit a home run today. I think the pull stuff is just so real in Houston. You play to your ballpark and not enough teams do it. You got this short porch to left. You better have Christian Walker and Isaac Paredes. Just 2 pull hitters. Just do it. Just do it over and over and over again, and you're going to have good results. Play to that portion of the ballpark if your range of outcomes goes that direction. But that's just one man's opinion about baseball, Matt.
No, and that's a man that I respect his opinion on baseball, so I appreciate it.
Sometimes. It's all right to not at times.
Well, I might disagree with you, but I still respect your opinion. I think that's lost in society today. It
sure is. Look at this guy. You know stuff. We got 1 minute. Just double checking to make sure that there's no weather issues. Looks like everything's clean and good. Lars Nootbaugh goes yard to start off the game there in Baltimore. I guess maybe that game started. Nope, it literally was at the top of the first. So that's always fun. Don't have anything else to add on my side. I'm going to get ourselves the heck up out of here as we get to lock. But Matt, tell the people where to find you. Tell them what you're up to.
You can find me on Twitter at Fantasy Tips Matt, and on these shows. So happy to be here and do this with you, and I can't wait for next time.
Yes, Dansby Swanson, not a great game environment, but I know my guy Aton +8 hundo, he's on that one. Ludus Gurriel from Clintwood, 3,500, one of my higher owned batters on the day. Ryan Schindler and Ken Ratty, thanks guys. You are so welcome. But that's not it, friends. In literally 25 minutes, we will be starting up NBA Live before lock. That's Greg Ehrenberg, G. Ehrenberg DFS, and Josh Engelman. I think it's just Josh Engelman over on X as well. Check them both out right up here NBA Live Before Lock will be coming your way. And check out playback.tv/Stokastic, where I am currently going to be ending and leaving the stage and hitting confirm on that. So you don't have to worry about that. I am also going to hit end stream. So without further ado, he's Fantasy Tips Matt. Follow him over on X. I'm Eric Lindquist at Eric Lindquist. We'll see you guys here. Same time, it'll be a different time, I'm sure, tomorrow.